I got Donald Trump on the phone, and it's
You can't get enough of us.
it's the 19th of December. Of course, you'll be seeing this show. When you watch this show, it'll be on actually the 22nd of December, 12:30, noon 30 in the afternoon. But I got him on the phone here, and they're reading off the electoral votes. And for some reason, he screams every time they add one to his column, and it's not a very happy scream either. It's like he's in a lot of pain. Because I heard, for instance, 241, and he screamed. Oh, we're not counting up the number of electoral votes that are going into his column. We're counting up the number of pubic hairs that his cats are pulling out. His 12 cats, all named Whitey. They're there in the living room of his posh place in New York at Trump Towers, and they're doing some work on him. He's saying that he thinks Basil got behind that. Welcome to Progressive Soup. Sorry with the pain. We don't feel your pain, and we're laughing, so it's okay. Welcome to Progressive Soup. My name is David Stevenson. We have, again, as we did last night, Henry Pietras and Mark Morash. We're going to talk about, I think, energy. But we might be talking about some other things, too. We might be talking about the Electoral College vote. We might be talking about, who knows? Go ahead. Ball's in your court, gentlemen.
Well, I meant in the last segment, I mentioned a meeting with Jeanine Lupo and a person from the Sierra Club. Upcoming is a meeting with the Governor's Council on Climate Change this Wednesday, the 21st, in the Gina McCarthy building in honor of the EPA administrator who's in place right now, who will be soon let go, I suppose. But we're going to, one of the conversations is going to be after the hour-and-a-half meeting, which is at 3 o'clock, there will be some public commentary. And I want to get in front of two things. One is something that I've been trying to do locally, and I do have support for that, and that is to get in front of construction in the sense that we want to make sure that we put in a guideline in our building codes, whether it's statewide or locally, to make sure that buildings are oriented for maximum or optimum harvest from the sun. So perhaps on day one, you may not put up a building that is facing true south, which, by the way, in Danbury is 193.5 degrees, and tilt of 41, which is latitude. But in the future, should you retrofit those technologies, the building is already optimally oriented.
That's cool.
That happened to me twice. On my house, I was 6 months late. My house was already built when I purchased it, so I missed out, and my building, believe it or not, is totally opposite of what it needs to be.
Yeah.
I was just involved in a conversation with the YMCA at their ribbon cutting ceremony to cover their pool. And again, the question was, have you guys considered anything with solar or clean power? No. So we had a meeting with the YMCA. We told them about what needed to happen. Of course, they already had all their permits and so on. So they're going forth with the construction, which is, again, the building is totally opposite. It's east-west as opposed to being north-south.
Yeah.
They haven't really put anything on the table, and they're pushing solutions that, of course, the utility is pushing, which is natural gas. Am I surprised?
No.
So they haven't factored in, offsetting their long-term costs with things like pool heating or domestic hot water heating, PV, electricity. They have a huge parking lot that they could put a carport over and put in solar panels. They have a roof space they can put solar panels over. That wasn't considered. Also, we wanted to get into things like heat exchanging so that, buildings are supposed to, because they're so tight, they're supposed to have their air changed roughly 3 times an hour. Well, when you dump all that heated air, you got to heat the cold air coming in.
Yeah.
But there are technologies to reclaim that heat before you exchange the air. So you reclaim the heat, put it back into the air coming in, and you only need to heat a fraction of the air coming in as opposed to all of it. Same thing with, if you're dumping hot water, why not reclaim that heat and put it back into water coming into the building? So those are the kinds of technologies we put on the table, and the contractor at the YMCA, as well as the leadership, were very much open to doing it. Not in phase 1, but in phase 2. And I think that if we do that, we can also sell the community on the idea of, hey, here's an entity that's working for the community, but they're also thinking long-term and trying to help the community with their long-term greenhouse emissions goals as well.
So if the Brookfield YMCA is doing this, why can't I do it? Is what people are going to be presumably, thinking.
You can. It's additional cost, of course. But when you look at it long-term, the payback on most of this is under 10 years.
Yep.
These technologies last over 25 years or more. We still don't know what the end life is of solar panels for. For instance, they've been in use for 40 years plus.
Yep.
Okay?
So at least 25 years life use on a 10-year time investment.
Yeah. So the return on your investment is 10 years, and anything after that is so-called free.
So
except for maintenance.
at least the extra 15 years at the end is paid for free.
Yep.
At least.
Essentially, yes, except for maintenance, and minor repairs and so on. But
if you've seen solar panels, the maintenance is not a big deal.
No, it's not. And if it fails, you put a new one in. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get in front of all this construction, not just locally, but also I have an opportunity to do that at the state level Wednesday. So I'll see how far we can get. Because not only do we need to do optimum orientation, but we also need to get in front of construction and ask, have a champion at these meetings where the constructions get approved, and have a champion for Planet Earth, okay, advocating for Planet Earth, because I think that in many cases, it's not about advocating for the common good, but more or less about how can I build it as cheaply as possible, and at maximum profit to whoever is doing the construction.
So Mark, your home is right next to a large open space, which I believe is owned by the town of Brookfield.
It is.
So there's an opportunity for the town of Brookfield to do something there too. Big wide open space, big open field, no trees, just a windmill, an old windmill.
Two.
There's two of them there? Okay, back from the days when windmills were highly regarded and highly used by farmers, because farmers did not have electricity come into their house. So the only power that
those
they had,
windmills were used for water pumping.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, they basically wells, and they pumped out the water for the animals. So electricity was not on the table at the time, although in the 60s they did quite a bit of electricity. But all of this would have to go through the town and their approval process. So it's not like, okay, today we're going to decide we're going to do windmills or whatever. All of that has to be agreed by the community.
I think if you tried to put a solar farm or wind farm turbines on that land, I think my kids would be the first ones out there protesting against it. That is prime sledding country.
Well, you can still do that. I mean, in Germany they have windmills along with solar panels, and they're farming. So all of that.
Yes, but you're not farming at high speed on ice down a hill heading for a wind turbine.
It's just a pole. Okay, you just got to avoid the pole.
That's what Sonny Bono said, huh?
Oh, too soon?
Ooh,
No.
ouch.
It's been a long time since Sonny.
It's been a
since Sonny
long
ran
time.
into the
Well,
tree.
but since he ran into
one,
a tree,
Sonny 0.
since that time, there have been some safety. Now people
Yeah.
who ski wear safety helmets, and
That's true.
soon they'll probably wear some kind of airbag.
Well, they have those. I can't remember the name of the company, but they have those big round plastic balls you can get in and run at each other and bounce off of each other. It's great. So you can just wear one of those.
I thought you were going to say the Michelin tire skier.
It's essentially what it is. It's a big plastic. And they're great. People play soccer and stuff wearing these giant. I mean, they're like the size of this table around, and you run and you into people.
Kristen and I on one of our honeymoon tours, Western Texas, La Mesa, Texas. Drove through an area on a state road, and on both sides, on one farm, had been converted to wind power. There were turbines, literally thousands of turbines on both sides of the road. And we had to pull over and we had to record it. Because we've seen reports on Fox where they show wind turbines and it sounds like a jet plane taking off or landing. And we got the camera out and we're recording it, and the wind turbines sounded something like this. No, not like that. That's the train going by. They sounded like. I don't know if you can hear me, but it was basically, you could hear birds singing over these giant turbines. You could hear crickets chirping over these giant turbines. The sound was literally not even hardly there.
Look, when you drive through Palm Springs on the interstate, there's thousands of wind turbines all around you. The sound of the interstate is far louder than those turbines ever reach.
That's Palm Springs, California?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
15,000 turbines there.
Nice.
Yep.
It's so cool. It's like a giant army of aliens ready to start walking.
And they probably power a pretty fair number of homes. If you have the number of homes that they power, feel free to throw it out there.
I don't know, but I mean, it's the only time in my life I've ever seen that many in that. And I had the same thought about the sound. And you can pull over, and all you hear is the interstate because it's both sides of the interstate. If you're complaining about the sound of the wind turbines, well, you got the interstate right there, which the number of cars that go past and the exhaust coming out. If you're complaining about the turbines, then the priorities are obviously. Your priorities are like King Christmas. See, this is King Christmas.
I'll be darned.
I don't know who King Christmas is supposed to be. Maybe he's the guy who says I'm for Christmas, but secretly underneath, since he's a king, he's actually in charge of the secret war on Christmas. Because you know what the war on Christmas really is?
No.
What is it?
Tell us.
Capitalism. Capitalism.
They're the ones that are warring on
Christmas.
They want to take over the holiday as their own, and never mind anything about some guy being born in a manger. That's just that unless he's doing product promotion in the manger.
Yes. So King Christmas.
I thought you were going to mention when you mentioned Christmas, I thought you were going to throw in a plug for Greg Lake of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, who just died today. And his great song, I Believe in Father Christmas. But thankfully, don't anybody in that studio play anything from that song. Like when we had Gene Wilder died, when we were doing a show, the day we did a show, and they threw in just a couple of bars from Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, and the show got thrown off of YouTube because of that, because we were using copyrighted material. So no Emerson, Lake and Palmer, please.
Over.
We can sing it. We can sing it. We could sing it at the end of the show, but it just can't be the actual show. Continue with the conversation. Take it from there, gentlemen.
How do you follow up wind turbines, war on Christmas, and John Lennon? Lennon. We're back to Russia again.
Okay, Lennon. Yeah, Lennon and Marx, so like a firesign theater.
Oh my goodness gracious. We've come all the way full circle from energy to Russia again. Russia, Syria, pipeline problem? Maybe. What's going on over there? Can anyone figure it out? Does anyone know what is actually happening? And the rumor is, and again, rumor, who knows? But the theory is that there are two competing pipelines out of Qatar through, and the question is, does the West get theirs, or does Russia get theirs? And the theory is that all of the horror over there, and the reason why no one can tell who is on whose side, or if everyone's on like multiple sides, is because it's all about clearing the path for another pipeline. And the problem is, would you be surprised? And I guess to bring it back around to energy, from Syria, Russia, pipelines, hundreds of thousands displaced and killed. I have yet to see a war over solar energy. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Yeah, and like my friend and our friend Robert Garaval says, have you ever seen anything from solar pollute the earth? Have you seen any pollution other than the sun?
No. The only way there will be a war over wind power is if truly those wind turbines are alien robots and they step up and start walking, which XKCD, which is an online comic, has a car. I've totally thieved this idea. XKCD, who is absolutely hilarious time and again and full of science, has a cartoon about wind turbines coming to life as giant aliens. And if you haven't visited xkcd.org, do yourself and your belly of laughter a favor and go see them. Totally shameless plug. I get nothing from Trump when he calls, I get billions, but XKCD, totally free advertising. So, wind and solar, or do we wait to see what the gentleman over there is writing?
I'm creating a song to close out on. And you probably know the song by Greg Lake, I Believed in Father Christmas.
Yes.
You don't know that because you don't know Emerson Lake and Palmer. We're going to do that. Continue the conversation. We're going to fade with a little take off on a Greg Lake song called "I Believed in Father Christmas." But continue the conversation.
But seriously, solar. Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Did you see the solar panels that look like shingles for the rooftop where you can do? Take on that. What do you think?
That's been around for quite a long time. It was actually invented by Olszewski is his name. He actually did, and his wife Iris. They started a company. I forget now. It's like Ever Energy or something like that. I don't remember. They were on the stock market for a while. They invented the what they call the amorphous crystal solar panel. They also invented the solar shingle. And then later on, they invented the Ovonic battery, which was nickel metal hydride battery for the EV1, GM. And if you ever watched Who Killed the Electric Car, he was on it. And he says, when I doubled the range on the battery from 60 miles for the EV1 to 120, he said, I expected champagne from GM. And instead, I got censured for opening up my big mouth. So, and that's on the record in Who Killed the Electric Car. He was a physicist, and his wife was too. And they did a lot of stuff around solar.
So we're going to go solar. We're going to go clean energy, just at the speed that the oil companies deem fitting to their drain every last drop of oil profit.
That's one way to take a look at it. But if you look around you, people are doing solar no matter what. Yeah. Okay, they're installing solar panels mainly because of incentives. Of course, they're going to go away in time. But in time, I think at this point, the thinking around the media right now is that solar and fossil fuels are about on par in terms of cost, and that's simply not true. Because if it may be true at the pump and out of your pocket, but the reality is that the biggest set of assumptions are not even mentioned, which is the cost to the planet. One technology, okay, it's $1, okay, but it causes pollution and health effects and all that. This is totally clean.
What's the cleanup cost and what's the healthcare cost?
Yeah, all those assumptions are off the table, and nobody puts a value on that. I ask you again, what's the value of all that damage done to the Gulf Stream, to the Gulf? Okay, Gulf of Mexico.
Yep.
Can you put a dollar value on that? Can BP get away with paying $60 billion or whatever the number is, and that's okay, we're done?
What if it costs more than that to clean up? And we could probably pretty much figure that it will cost more long range to restore the Gulf of Mexico, to restore those areas that BP ruined with their oil.
The reality is,
David,
is that we have a choice. Okay, we have a choice of either doing it in a clean manner. Yes, it's going to take time, or we're going to continue to do it the way we've been doing all the time. And there's a resistance to go to the new way of doing things because we already have solutions in place. Okay, so why change? Okay, I already have my electricity. I already have my solutions. I already have my light.
We got ours. What do we need to change for?
Yeah, so there's a cost involved in going clean. But I think it's really a function of some leadership. I mean, Al Gore did this in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
He challenged us to be totally carbon-free in 10 years.
And it could have been done.
And it could have been done if people listened to him and, didn't get mixed up what he said with his personality and the messenger. Okay?
Are you saying that Al Gore's kind of dry?
Well, it's not that. It's just that, instead of, looking at the idea,
Dry.
okay, of what he was trying to propose, just like Kenny was saying, okay, mission to the moon in 10 years, and we did it.
Yeah.
Okay, he did the same thing for
He
clean
laid out
energy,
that
okay?
challenge.
But instead of saying, okay, that's a great idea, we said, oh, he's a lousy messenger and he's a hypocrite. Okay, that's what they went after.
Because he has a big house, and imagine a rich guy having a big house. Could you imagine? Is he the only rich guy with a big house?
Kennedy had the advantage that the folks of this country wanted to defeat Russia in the space race.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It always comes back to Russia. They hacked the space race. I'm trying to keep a straight face.
Straight face on the space race, huh?
No, but it's true though. Like it's amazing how that competition pushed things. It's amazing how having maybe that's a thing. Maybe we need to look at Germany and how well they're doing with getting rid of carbon and getting all of they have all electric cars by I think 2030 is their mandate. Maybe we need to look at it and say, you know what? Look what they're doing. Maybe there needs to a dose of healthy competition to say, do we still care enough overall in this country to say we're falling behind? It's embarrassing.
Yeah. It's not just embarrassing, but in addition, as Germany evolves their solutions, okay, and gets better at it,
They'll be further ahead of us.
and now they're turning around and selling that technology to us. Okay, well, we're standing in place, okay? And because, we don't believe in research and we don't believe in science anymore, and facts, because now we're going to pray about solutions, and that's how it will happen.
Yeah. Instead of getting Copernicus in the White House, we got Copperfield in the White House.
Because we're great consumers in this country, and I thank all of you for making Christmas a consumer holiday. Yay.
Is that King Mr. Bill or what?
King Christmas.
Okay.
I'm sucking down all the helium that's left in the world so I can sound like this. There's not much left. Which is true, actually. We're running out of helium.
Really?
Yes, they've been talking about that for about the past 10 years, where there's big, giant helium storehouses, and when helium goes out of your balloon, it's gone. And you can't, because it's and my science is poor here, but it's not an element that's created in this, it's not water, which is H2O. It's just
HE.
the raw HE. And so there is actually a limit to the amount of helium in this world.
It's 2% of the atmosphere, something like that?
Something like that. And so if every time you suck down a balloon, you better make it worth it. So King Christmas knows what he's talking about.
Well, we could always go to fusion, And in fusion, you take two hydrogens and make it into helium. That's one of the waste products.
But does it make you? As long as look, look. Here we are right now. Fusion. Why should we go fusion? Because fusion will guarantee that your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren can have helium balloons.
Exactly.
That is why right here on Progressive Soup, right now, the end of 2016, we have come up with the greatest campaign ever to advertise why fusion energy must happen and is the way of the future, because you don't want to be responsible for your grandkids not being able to suck on a helium balloon and make their voice high.
So instead of voting for fusion, we voted for the opposite, which is
Confusion.
confusion.
Oh my God.
It's like
That is awesome.
you heard it here first, folks. It's like what's the opposite of progress?
Congress.
Congress.
Forever and ever.
Regress.
Regress.
Yes.
Okay, that's one I hadn't heard before. That's good. Thank you.
That's going backwards, isn't it?
Regress. Yeah. Instead of progress.
So what's the opposite of a progressive? A regressive.
A regressive.
Right?
Yep. I'll take credit. A little credit for that.
Not standing still, just going back.
Yeah, going backwards.
Wow.
Building bridges to the 12th century. I don't know if we're ready for the end yet. Are we ready for the end yet? I'm going to pass the song over. And Mark and I know the tune because we know.
So go ahead.
We know. Let me know when you're ready.
Go for it. I'm following your lead.
Okay. They said there'd be snow at Christmas. They said there'd be peace on earth. But instead we just kept on shopping. A veil of tears for the virgin birth.
But instead we just kept on shopping.
A veil of tears for the virgin birth. Is the king going to join in? King
But
Christmas.
instead we just kept on shopping. Keep on shopping, everybody. You got 48 hours to go. Yeah.
That's true, because when this is aired, it'll be
King Christmas.
it'll
Are
be
you really,
Thursday, noon 30 on December.
Are you really the source
22nd.
of the war on Christmas? Can you admit to everyone that there really is a war on Christmas? Yes, there's a war on Christmas. Why did you have a war on Christmas? Because we like war. Why do you like war? Because I make money off of war. So what you're saying is the war on Christmas is just like every other war? Yes, you got me. Okay, thank you for admitting that right here on Progressive Soup. Now go back to hanging on the tree.
And with that, this has been Progressive Soup. Mark Morash, co-host until about 30 seconds from now, and then he'll be back in May. Henry Pietras coming in as one of our new co-hosts, guests, along with James Root and a bunch of other great folks from the
Good
Bernie
night,
Sanders
America,
campaign.
wherever you
and
are.
I'm just David Stevenson.